Welcome back to Totally Based. I'm Joey Gaskell. Candace Owens announced today that she and the Daily Wire are parting ways. We all kind of expected that, but what does this mean for the Daily Wire? And also, what's next for Candace? We'll discuss all that and more coming up next here on Totally Based. Wow. So I did not expect to be leading with this story. I had some other stories planned for you guys this week, but this is something that needs to be talked about. I have to share this. I don't know if you guys know, but Candace Owens announced today that she was parting ways with the Daily Wire. And man, take a listen to what she had to say.
Hey guys, it's Candace. The rumors are true. I am free. Welcome to my locals page. So much to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to take a couple of weeks here just to rebuild and to refocus and to create something that is actually mine and something that can't be threatened or taken because it belongs to me. I can't tell you enough how much your support has meant to me over the years. We're just getting started. Join the locals page. Obviously here you can support me and my work as an independent journalist, as an independent podcaster. We're still going to be doing 5 days a week. There'll be tons of announcements coming in the next couple of weeks. And I guess the last thing I want to say is thank you. For those of you that don't want to be on locals and just want to support in any capacity, you can head to gocandace.com. Thank you, guys.
Now, this all comes after a lot of noticeable tension between Candace and colleague Ben Shapiro. As we know, Ben is very much pro-Israel. He wants Candace to take the same position, the same stance that he has when it comes to Israel and Hamas. And because Candace has come out and said that she's not pro-war and that she doesn't believe that we should be going to war at all and that our interests should actually be here at home in America, and also that she's not in favor of a genocide, Ben has got an issue with that. He wants her to say what he wants her to say. And so because Candace wouldn't parrot the points that Ben wanted her to say, he goes in front of a room full of people and he calls her disgraceful and says that she has faux sophistication and that it's just ridiculous that she's saying the things that she's saying. Take a look.
Yes, the question was about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt. I think it's not I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Now, so you saw that. And so just yesterday, Candace Owens was on The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy. And Charlamagne asked her, he says, like, how do you guys handle that? You know, is he your boss? Like, how does that work? You guys have disagreements. Well, this was Candace's reply.
I love the way that you and Ben Shapiro are able to disagree, but then I guess still have a business relationship, because I saw him recently tell you, I think it was maybe a few months ago, he told you to quit over your Israel coverage, your Palestine Israel coverage.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, he told me, the tweet that he responded to was actually just some biblical passages. Mm-hmm. And he thought that it was me saying that I had to choose money over I don't know how we interpret it, but it was definitely not. I just meant it as like, peace, calling for peace, because, there was a video circulating of him calling me a disgrace and a faux professional or whatever it was. And I decided to choose peace. And then when I chose peace, he responded to the peace with not peace.
So why wouldn't he just fire you?
Well, as I explained on Tucker Carlson's show, like, Ben doesn't have the power to fire me. And it's not even saying that we disagree on Israel and Palestine. I just think that he's obviously, his wife is Israeli. Mm-hmm. He spends a lot of time in Israel throughout the year. I think when you have an emotional attachment to some place, that sometimes your reaction to anything is going to be more extreme to it. I have some relatives that are from St. Thomas. If what was happening in that region was happening in St. Thomas, I would probably be the most fired up out of everybody at the Daily Wire. And yeah, he definitely went through, I think, an emotional time at the end of last year, dealing with everything. I think I was pretty even keel. I don't want to see innocent Palestinians killed. I don't want to see innocent Israelis killed. I never want to see children killed. I don't believe children should have to grow up in a war zone based on the actions of a few. And that, I guess, last year sounded crazy. It sounded crazy because always the demand in all these situations is to make people pick a side. And then if you don't pick their side, then you get smeared and you get libeled, right? So if you don't say, I want every Palestinian murdered, then suddenly you're pro-Hamas. If you don't say, like, I want every Israeli person eradicated, then suddenly you're pro-apartheid, whatever the arguments are. And I think both of that is extreme.
You said no government anywhere has a right to commit a genocide, ever. There is no justification for genocide.
Yeah. That is going to age so well. Genocide is always wrong. It is, guys. It is always wrong.
Now, ever since Candace decided that she wasn't going to recite the talking points of her overlords, she's come under some fire. In fact, there have been 2 stories in particular that she's covered that have probably gotten her into some hot water. One of those stories is about French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte. Now, as the story goes, Brigitte may or may not be a man. And Candace has covered the story in depth. And so if she did not have enemies before, she may very well have them now. The other story that she's covered is a story about Rabbi Shmuley. Rabbi Shmuley and his daughter have been harassing Candace for quite some time. And so Candace has gotten to the point where she's just been fed up and she decided to just call it out. She's done a whole video on this rabbi and the things that he and his daughter have said about her and how they've been calling for her firing. And she's come out and she's actually said the thing that people have been waiting for her to say. Now, I'm going to pause for a second. If you want more content like this video, ring that notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe and follow for more. Do you guys remember what took place with Kanye West and the things that he said about a certain community? And, we all saw what happened to Kanye West when he said the things he said about going DEFCON 3. Do you guys remember what happened with Kyrie Irving and the things that he said, and how they silenced him? Well, here we are today. Candace Owens has been let go from the Daily Wire, so to speak. We don't know the true logistics, whether she was fired, if she decided to walk away, but she and the Daily Wire have now parted ways. A company that says they care very much about free speech, more speech, not less, but yet they're letting Candace go because she has an alternate opinion. She has an alternate idea. She wants to say something different, but now we have to part ways. Like, make that make sense, folks. Make that make sense. You're a conservative network and you say you believe in freedom of speech, but then when someone has a different idea from you, you decide to part ways. I don't get that, man. That doesn't make any sense to me. And so Candace has come out and she has said that there may or may not be a small group within the Jewish community that is executing somewhat of a blackmail ring to threaten people to get them to do things that they want them to do. And if we're just looking at the circumstances of today, it would sure appear that way. And I find it a bit funny because just yesterday, there was this clip of Dave Rubin that surfaced of him talking to Patrick Bet-David and them discussing what would happen with Candace Owens. Because, right now there's been a lot of speculation around whether or not she's going to stay at the Daily Wire. Will she go to another network or will she try to do something on her own? Here's what Dave Rubin had to say.
What do you think about the dynamics of her and Ben at Daily Wire, where, Ben made those comments at that one event and it was recorded and it went to the public and, I don't agree with this. And obviously tensions were high. What are your thoughts about that dynamic?
I think there's many layers to this. Let's just remove the Israel layer for a second. There's a pure business layer to it, which is that Candace has a contract with Daily Wire. Mm-hmm. I truly know nothing about the nature of the contract or how long it lasts or how much it's for or anything else. But it seems fairly obvious to me she wants to leave the Daily Wire. And I would say there's a little bit of the Tucker thing here too, which Tucker is building a network. He now has the Tucker Carlson network. He's gone after Ben, I would say, in a fairly unfair way. Repeatedly going after Ben's motives, saying he doesn't love America, things like that.
Who? Tucker.
Tucker, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Ben has repeatedly, he did it on my show, he's done it on his show, said, I'll be happy to sit down with you. I've offered to moderate it, but you could moderate it. They don't even need a moderator. I think it would be a good conversation to have. You can have difference of opinion on, say, foreign policy or any political issue without going after someone's motives or saying they don't love America, that sort of thing. But at a business level, Tucker now has a network that is in competition. He's building a network now that is in competition with the Daily Wire. So it would be pretty great to take out Ben Shapiro. That's just reality.
You think
right?
That's what it is?
I think that there is an element of that. I'm removing just the specifics around Israel or politics for a second and saying that and I think Candace, to her own, whether she wants to join Tucker or do something else after, start the Candace Owens network, whatever it might be. I think there are realities outside of just like the political fights. And that's why in this case, it actually, for me, it has more to do with that we were friends for a while. I'm trying to honor and respect that. We were quite good friends, and I think she sees an opportunity here and she's going for it.
And here we have today Candace Owens announcing that she is parting ways with the Daily Wire, with Jeremy Boring also backing that up, saying that the relationship between Candace Owens and the Daily Wire has come to an end. So I'm just going to be honest. When it comes to the relationship between the Daily Wire and Candace Owens and which one needs the other, it is so apparent that the Daily Wire needs Candace Owens. I feel that's why this has gone on as long as it has, honestly. You know, Candace, she can go do whatever she wants to do. She's going to be fine. Like, the woman's got plenty of money, and she's got lots of connections, and she has a loyal fan base. She's going to be okay. But when it comes to the Daily Wire and the content that they have, like, what are they left with? You know, when you look at their talent roster and who they have, you know, they have some brilliant minds over at the Daily Wire. They do. They have some really bright guys there. And when I look at that, I just feel like, you know, their content's kind of the same. Their roster's kind of the same. 90% of their talent is 30-year-old white men and older. You know, they don't really have anybody that can really connect with pop culture very well. And Candace was probably their only connection to Black America. And so when it comes to them wanting to be at the forefront of culture, I just see them having some trouble without actually hiring some new talent. And the last thing I'm going to say is that I had a membership with the Daily Wire. You know, the only thing that me and my wife were really even watching was A Shot in the Dark. And so if that's going to be elsewhere, we will just follow along with that. Membership canceled. And so when it comes to Candace and the Daily Wire, I feel like the Daily Wire was a solid move for her at one time. You know, I feel like it's helped her to expand her voice and to grow a stronger position and even grow her platform. But, you know, I feel like she's outgrown it. She doesn't need that anymore. She can go do whatever she wants to do and just be equally as great, if not more. And so I just want to say congratulations to you, Candace Owens. Go do you. Go build what you want to build. Go build something for yourself and something that will really impact the people that you want to impact the most. And I'll close with this. As Martin Luther King said, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. So did you like that video? Well, if you did, you can always find more like it here. And as always, stay tuned for more news, culture, and politics here on Totally Based.